Why do some breeders manage to get their pigs to grow strong, reach a good weight, and yield a profit, while others spend a fortune on feed and see no return? Why does an animal eat every day but fail to convert that feed into meat as it should? Where is the flaw? In the ration, the water, the environment, or a lack of method? And there is another equally serious question. How much money is lost by not feeding at the right time? Stick around, because today you are going to understand the complete method behind this result. Hello, breeder. Today I want to share with you information that can transform the way you manage your pig farming. If you are here, you are not looking for empty promises. You are looking for real results, animals that grow well, a diet that won't destroy your wallet, and a system that allows you to look at your farm with confidence, because there is nothing more frustrating than investing in feed, working every day, waiting weeks, and discovering that the weight isn't going up. In this content, we are going to talk about the complete method so that pigs can gain 110 kg in just 60 days using cheap but well-formulated feed. Yes, 110 kg in 60 days. But before you think this is a miracle, I want to make something clear. There is no magic in pig farming. What exists is science, experience, and discipline working together. When an animal reaches that growth rate, it doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it receives the right nutrients, in the right amount and at the right time. After years of observing swine production, one thing is clear. The pig is an efficient animal at converting feed into meat, even more efficient than other livestock. But that efficiency only appears when the breeder understands what they are doing. If energy is lacking, growth slows down. If protein is lacking, muscle doesn't form. If minerals are lacking, the bones don't keep up with the weight gain. If clean water is lacking, feed consumption drops. And if the environment isn't comfortable, all the effort is lost. To reach 110 kilos in 60 days, we are talking about intense daily weight gain, around 1,800 grams per day. That number demands a perfect combination. Corn provides energy, soy provides protein, alternative ingredients reduce costs, minerals support bone development, the vitamin and mineral premix allows the animal to express its genetic potential, water maintains consumption, and proper management prevents waste, diseases, and losses. Therefore, it is not enough to just buy any cheap ration. The important thing is to prepare a cheap ration intelligently. Many breeders make the mistake of thinking that reducing costs means lowering quality. But true savings lie in knowing how to choose the ingredients, combine them well, and feed consistently. Profitable breeding does not depend on luck. It depends on details repeated every day. Now that you understand the core principle, let's get into the foundation of it all. The ingredients that make up a strategic diet and that separate the breeder who just spends from the breeder who converts feed into weight, meat, and profit. Let's start with the foundation of it all, the feed ingredients. Many breeders believe that cheap feed always means bad, poor feed that is incapable of delivering results. But that is one of the biggest mistakes in pig farming. Cheap feed does not mean feeding poorly. Cheap feed means knowing where to find the right ingredients at the best price, and above all, knowing how to combine them intelligently. Because the secret is not in buying the most expensive items, but in using each ingredient to fulfill an exact function in the animal's growth. The first great ally is corn. In this formula, corn should make up the majority of the ration, approximately 60 to 70% of the total. Why so much corn? Because corn is pure energy. It is the main source of carbohydrates that the pig needs to move, stay active, and most importantly, sustain rapid growth. Without enough energy, the animal has no fuel to convert feed into weight. It can eat, it can fill its stomach, but the result will not be the same. But here is a detail that cannot be ignored. The corn must be of high quality. It cannot be damp, it cannot be moldy, and it cannot be poorly stored. Corn in bad condition is not a saving, it is a risk. It can reduce consumption, affect the animal's health, and destroy the entire result you hope to achieve. Furthermore, the corn must be ground to the correct particle size. Not too fine, because it turns into dust and can cause waste or respiratory problems, and not too coarse because the pig won't digest it well and feed conversion is lost. Now, corn alone does not work miracles. Real growth requires protein, And here enters the second fundamental ingredient, soybean meal. In the formulation, it should represent between 20 and 25% of the ration. Protein is what builds muscle. It is what allows the pig not just to get fat, but to truly grow. Without enough protein, you can put out food every day, you can fill the feeder, but the animal will not gain weight as it should. The body needs raw material to form meat, and that raw material comes from protein. Then comes another group of ingredients that many breeders underestimate: wheat bran or rice bran. These can be added to the mix at between 10 and 15%. Their function is to provide fiber, vitamins, and important minerals, as well as to help improve the digestibility of the entire ration. Wheat bran is usually cheaper than other ingredients and, when used correctly, helps the animal's digestive system work better. When the animal digests better, it makes better use of the feed. And when it makes better use of the feed, the breeder loses less money. But there are still ingredients that can make a huge difference in the final cost of the ration. We are talking about alternative proteins like cottonseed meal or meat and bone meal. These ingredients can be included in the formulation at between 5 and 10%. Their great advantage is that they help reduce costs, as they can be cheaper than relying solely on soybean meal. Meat and bone meal, especially, is very valuable because, in addition to protein, it naturally provides calcium and phosphorus. And here's an important lesson. An efficient ration does not depend on a single ingredient. It depends on balance. Corn provides energy, soy builds muscle, bran improves digestion, alternative proteins reduce costs and complement the formula. When all this is combined correctly, the pig receives what it needs to grow fast, and the breeder manages to spend less without sacrificing results. Now that you are clear on the foundation of the diet, the next step is to know the exact proportions of the formula. Now we come to one of the most important parts, the exact proportion that makes this ration work. Because understanding the ingredients is necessary, but if you put in too much of one and too little of another, the balance is broken. For every 100 kilos of feed, the base is this: 65 kilos of ground corn, 22 kilos of soybean meal, 8 kilos of wheat bran, 2.5 kilos of meat and bone meal, 1 kilo of calcitic limestone, 1 kilo of dicalcium phosphate, 100 grams of common salt, and 400 grams of a high-quality vitamin and mineral premix. This formulation delivers approximately 18% crude protein, a proportion considered ideal for the growing and finishing phase. Why is that number so important? Because the pig needs enough protein to build muscle, but it also needs energy to transform that protein into actual weight. If the ration is poor in protein, the animal eats and does not develop as it should. If it is unbalanced, you can spend more and get less. Here, the strength lies in the combination. With this mix doing everything correctly, the pig can consume about 3 kilos of feed a day and convert that food into a gain of nearly 2 kilos daily. But pay attention, the recipe alone does not do the whole job. The way the ration is prepared is just as important as the ingredients. A poorly made mix can ruin a good formula because some animals will receive more protein, others more corn, and others more minerals. Then differences in growth, waste, and performance issues appear. The first thing is to check that all the ingredients are completely dry. Moisture in the feed is an open door to mold, loss of quality, and diseases. A damp ingredient might seem cheap, but in the end, it can turn out to be much more expensive. Corn, especially, must be dry, clean, and well preserved. It is useless to have a good formula if the raw material arrives damaged at the feeder. Next comes the milling. The corn must be ground to a medium particle size. If it is too fine, it turns into dust, is easily wasted, and can cause respiratory discomfort. If it is too coarse, the pig won't digest it well and feed conversion drops. The sweet spot is where the animal can eat without wasting and make the best use of every grain. Mixing also requires patience. If you have a mechanical mixer, much better, because it helps distribute each ingredient evenly. But if you do the process manually, don't rush it. You must mix for at least 15 to 20 minutes, turning the whole mass over and over again until there are no concentrated areas of a single ingredient. That detail may seem small, but it makes a difference in the final result. And here is the core idea of this part. A champion ration is not born just from a list of ingredients. It is born from precision. It is born from weighing well, milling well, drying well, mixing well, and offering fresh, clean, and balanced feed. When you do that every day, the formula stops being theory and starts turning into meat, weight, profit within your own farm. And now that you know the formula and its preparation, a decisive question arises. What happens if the pig has good feed, but receives it incorrectly? The answer lies in daily management, and that is where many breeders lose money. Having the perfect ration is only half the battle. The other half lies in daily management, because good feed delivered incorrectly can lose much of its effectiveness. In this intensive growth phase, the pig needs constant access to fresh, clean, and available feed. That doesn't mean filling the feeder once a day and forgetting about it. It means offering smaller portions several times throughout the day, ideally 3 or 4 times a day, to keep consumption high, prevent waste, and ensure the food is in good condition. Why does this matter so much? Because pigs eat better when the feed is fresh. Old, damp, or dirty feed loses its aroma, loses palatability, and can reduce consumption. And when consumption drops, growth falls immediately. Therefore, before adding new feed, look at the bottom of the feeder. If there are old leftovers, removing them is mandatory. A clean feeder is not an aesthetic detail. It is a production tool. Every time the animal rejects food due to dirtiness, the breeder loses weight, time, and money. But there is a more important and often forgotten nutrient: water. You can have the best formula, the best ingredients, in animals with good genetics. But if clean water is lacking, everything falls apart. A pig in intense growth can drink 5 to 10 liters of water a day. On hot days, even more. If water is lacking, warm, dirty, or the drinker isn't working well, the animal eats less. And if it eats less, it doesn't gain weight as it should. That is why drinkers must always be clean, at the correct height, and working perfectly. The environment also dictates the result. Pigs suffer a lot from the heat, and when the temperature rises too much, they reduce their feed intake to avoid generating more metabolic heat. The ideal temperature for maximum growth is between 15 and 25 degrees Celsius. When that limit is exceeded, performance can visibly drop. That is why shade, ventilation, and if possible, some cooling system like water sprinklers during the hottest hours make a difference. A comfortable pig eats more, gets stressed less, and grows better. Available space also counts. Overcrowded animals get stressed, fight, eat worse, and develop less. The ideal in this phase is to offer about 1 square meter per animal. It may seem simple, but that space allows the pig to move, rest, and access the feeder with less competition. When there is less stress, there is better consumption. And when there is better consumption, conversion improves. Now, none of this works if health is not under control. The best ration in the world cannot compensate for sick animals. Parasites, for example, steal nutrients that should be converted into meat. That is why regular deworming is essential, usually every 45 to 60 days, using quality products and following proper guidance. It is also necessary to keep the facilities clean. Accumulated feces attract diseases, parasites, and bad odors, in addition to creating an environment that reduces the animal's well-being. Cleaning must be daily, removing excess manure, and periodically a deeper cleaning with disinfectant should be done. Vaccination is also fundamental. Each region can have different risks, so it is advisable to talk to a veterinarian and define a proper health schedule. Preventing always costs less than treating. And even more importantly, preventing stops growth from stalling. Because a sick pig doesn't eat well, doesn't convert well, and doesn't reach the expected weight. So the question every breeder must ask themselves is this: am I only taking care of the food, or am I taking care of the whole system? Because the true result is born from the union of ration, water, environment, space, and health. If one of those points fails, growth breaks down. But when they all work together, the pig has the conditions to express its potential. After talking about ration, water, environment, and health, there is another point that cannot be left out: genetics. You can have an excellent formula, careful management, and a clean facility, but if your pigs come from a weak genetic line, you will hardly reach 110 kilos in 60 days. Growth potential is also born from the animal. That is why investing in good genetics is not a luxury. It is part of the business. Breeds like Landrace, Large White, Duroc, and their crosses are highly recommended for commercial production because they have been selected for years to grow fast, make better use of feed, and convert it into meat. But it is not enough to buy good animals and let time pass. The breeder who wants results needs to measure. An essential practice is to weigh the pigs regularly, at least every 15 days, taking a sample from the batch. That control shows you if the plan is working or if something needs to be corrected. If the expected weight doesn't appear, you can't just guess. You have to check the quality of the ingredients, daily feed consumption, ambient temperature, cleanliness, water, and the possible presence of diseases. There is always a detail that can be improved. Therefore, keeping a notebook or a spreadsheet is a powerful tool. Write down the animal's entry date, initial weight, feed consumption, weight every 15 days, and any health treatments performed. That data is worth its weight in gold because it allows you to compare batches, discover flaws, and continuously improve. A breeder who doesn't keep records works almost blind. A breeder who takes notes learns from their own animals. Now let's talk about economics, because raising pigs profitably doesn't just depend on making them grow. It also depends on buying well. To get cheap feed without losing quality, the first step is to buy ingredients in bulk. When you have volume, you have more negotiating power. In some cases, it is even worth joining forces with other breeders in the region to buy together and get a better price. You should also observe harvest seasons. Corn and soy usually drop in price when there is more supply. If you have a dry and suitable place to store them, those are the ideal times to buy in larger quantities. But beware, poor storage can destroy all the savings. A damp, moldy, or poorly preserved ingredient is not an opportunity. It is a guaranteed loss. Another way to reduce costs is to look for alternative ingredients available in your area, such as fish meal, poultry byproduct meal, or broken rice. They can be cheaper options in certain regions, but they should only be used if you know their nutritional composition and can balance the ration correctly. Not every cheap ingredient works. A low price is only an advantage when the nutritional value matches it. Now come the mistakes you must avoid at all costs. The first is skimping on the vitamin and mineral premix. That is a false economy. Even though it is added in small amounts, the premix carries essential nutrients for the animal to express its potential. Using a bad premix or an insufficient amount can cost you much more in lost growth. Another serious mistake is using expired, damp, moldy, or poor quality ingredients. That doesn't feed, it makes them sick. It is also a mistake to underestimate water. There are breeders with an excellent ration, but with dirty or insufficient drinkers. And then the whole nutritional plan collapses. Real profit appears when genetics, control, smart purchasing, and quality work together. In the end, every small failure turns into lost kilos, and every lost kilo is money that doesn't come back. That is why the smart breeder doesn't just look at the feeder. They look at the animal's origin, the numbers, the real costs, and the details that sustain daily profit. When pigs approach slaughter weight, there are still a few adjustments that can improve the final result. In that phase, you can slightly reduce the protein and slightly increase the energy of the ration to help with fat finishing and carcass quality. But be careful, it's not about fattening them up uncontrollably. Too much fat reduces lean meat yield and can hurt profits. The balance here is delicate, and the breeder learns to master it through observation, data, and experience. And speaking of observation, this is one of the greatest qualities of a successful breeder. Every day when you enter the facility, you shouldn't just look at the feeder. Look at the animals. Observe how they eat, how they move, how they rest, the condition of their skin, their behavior, and their feces. A pig that stops eating might be sick. A pig that is too still might be showing signs of a problem. Liquid or bloody feces are warning signs. The sooner you detect something unusual, the easier it is to correct, and the lower the loss will be. If you apply everything explained, using the right formula, offering clean water, maintaining a good environment, up-to-date healthcare, proper genetics, and consistent management, It is possible to raise pigs to 110 kilos in 60 days. During that period, each animal can consume approximately 180 kilos of feed. If the cost of feed is around 1 real per kilo, we are talking about 180 reais per animal just in food. Adding around 30 reais for health, facilities, and labor, the total cost comes to about 210 reais. Now look at the results calmly. A 110-kilo pig can be worth between 700 and 800 reais, depending on the region and market conditions. Subtracting the costs, that leaves an approximate net profit of 500 to 600 reais per animal in just 2 months. Multiply that by the number of animals you have, and you will understand why pig farming, when done correctly, can be a highly viable business. How many opportunities are lost by not calculating, not keeping records, and not making timely corrections? That is the difference between raising pigs out of habit and raising them as a business. But there is one thing you cannot forget. Results don't come from doing things right just once. They come from doing them right every single day. Clean water every day, fresh feed every day, clean feeders every day, observation every day. The breeder who slacks off, lets the feed run out, neglects cleanliness, or ignores signs of illness loses yield. The disciplined breeder thrives. Pig farming doesn't need to start big. You can start with 5 or 10 animals. Apply this method, learn with each batch, and gradually reinvest the profits. Many breeders grew this way, with technical knowledge, hard work, and attention to detail. There is no magic secret. There is method, consistency, and determination. If you do your part, the animals will do theirs. Grow, gain weight, and turn your effort into profit. And when you get your first 110-kilo pigs in 60 days, come back and tell us about it in the comments. Your victory can inspire other breeders who are starting today.